How are we doing, folks? Well, today is the day I'm going to be sorting out the electrical harness on this engine. So, all this needs to be connected up, tidied up, and I need to make a conduit for this heavy wire down here. The reason I want to make a conduit is to protect it because there is no there's no fuse or anything on that wire, and it goes straight from the battery. So basically that means if it comes in contact with the bodywork of the van, it goes on fire. And we can't have that, so that needs to be taken care of straight away. So we'll do that. The other thing as well too I need to do is I need to extend this wire here, which is for the throttle position sensor. Not a big problem. It's a bit of an inconvenience more than anything else. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually route it around the back of the firewall and bring it in with the other wiring up to the injection pump. Keep it all nice and tidy. And I think I'll probably remove that. Like, I just kind of bent that bit of metal up out of the way for the moment, but I think I'll remove it all together. Beyond that, there's a couple of thoughts I've been having as well about other things on this engine and how to deal with them. This auxiliary water pump usually has a sensor down here in the head, and this engine doesn't have that sensor, but that's where the coolant temperature sensor is for this instead. So I can't just swap over the pipe union from the old engine, because then I won't have the sensor for this electrical harness. So what I was thinking of doing is actually using the radiator fan switch to bring that on as well too, which it'll be effective, to be honest with you. If the radiator fan is on, the engine needs additional cooling, so it'll get it. Yeah, beyond that, then the other thing as well too, I was thinking the glow plugs. I think I might put a switch on the dashboard just to enable or disable them. So when they're enabled, they'll operate as they would have done with the JX or AAZ engine. If they're disabled, they won't do anything. So I can turn them on if the weather's particularly cold, and use them that way. So what I believe I need to do then is, for that coolant temperature sensor that's for the glow plugs, I will need to I'm getting myself confused here now, because that actually is that water pump isn't controlled by that. The glow plugs is controlled by that. So the glow plugs can be controlled by the switch instead, and the switch will ground out up at the dashboard, and that is controlled by a temperature input. So they still operate. I'll have to have a look at that actually. I might be able to piggyback that wire into another wire. We'll have to have a look and see what the wiring diagram says. But anyway, at the moment, as the situation stands, get that up out of the way, this is how we're looking. So, we have it cranking over on the key. So that's definitely progress. So yeah, basically now it's just a case of actually getting it to start, and then if I manage to get that done today, then I'll be a very happy man. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so I'm at the point now where all the electrical connections are made. They're just not tidied up yet, but what I did was I know it's household electrical wire, but it's fine, and I used those solder sleeve connections in there to extend out the throttle position sensor. It's the only wire I had that was kind of like, look, it's double insulated, and it's 2 lengths to 3/4 6 wires, so that's I'm happy enough with that. Now what I've done is, this wire here is coming up off the starter solenoid, and the power is actually on, and I now have fuel coming out of the injectors. I have fuel coming up through this pipe here and everything as well too, so the pump should be primed, so we should be fairly ready to start. So let's give it another little bit and see how we get on. Oh, good for the starter when you do that anyway. Didn't over good anyway. Okay, let's let's just take a step back for a second here and see what's going on. It's like, as I said, there's fuel coming through, so it's primed. That's just an alternator connection I'm not going to be using. We'll check over everything else and make sure that we're definitely all connected up properly here. I mean, realistically, it should be starting by now. It might just need a shot of Easy Start or something like that, so maybe we'll just do that. The only problem is getting those bloody ducts off is going to be a hassle now, you know, to try and get the Easy Start into it. You know what? I'm gonna reconnect the starter connection for the cab, and I'm gonna crank it over there because actually no, I'm not. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me put you guys there, right? I'm not in the best position possible, but okay, you're actually sitting on top of the battery now. In case you're wondering where you are. So let's just try it another little bit. And now I have a hand free to move the throttle position sensor. Come on, baby, you know you want it. Okay, so the smell of burnt diesel there, so it's trying. Now what I did was I only cracked injectors number 1 and 3, so 2 and 4 aren't actually primed, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them, because maybe that's what's actually stopping it. So what we're looking for basically is for fuel to come out around the pipe unions on these two lads. The pump won't pressurise air, so it won't. It can't push air past the injectors. The pressure on the injectors, but it can push fuel past them, obviously. So that's why you have to crack it off, let the pressure off them, and let it pump the air out with no pressure on. Okay, so they're both firing fuel now. So fuel's getting to the injectors. So you've got fuel getting to the injectors, and you got the engine turning over. Provided the fuel is there's enough fuel and it's at the right time, it should start. Okay, so let's see now. Let me just bring this wire over here, unless I'm robbing too much current from the ECU or something along those lines, like what I thought I was doing before at a previous stage in the game. Let's just make up an extension wire here. Yeah, it's bogey as hell, but sure, look what it'll do. Let's, okay, now. So this is straight onto the battery now, without getting the wire caught in the alternator. Okay, why is it not starting? Yeah, I think we're into looking at putting some Easy Start into it now. Let's get those wires out of the way. I'm going to disconnect the positive supply on the battery. Okay, so that's the power off. And get those wires up out of the way. That should be in there anyway. Get that pipe off. It's annoying because these pipes are a pain in the back and face to take on and off. Okay, so that's off there now. Well, it's not difficult to take off, it's difficult to get back on again sometimes. So we have a clear shot now into the inlet to get some easy start in there. So let's try that. Diesel engines just don't like to be sitting around. So basically where I'm going is, I'm just taking that pipe off there, you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank it and I'm going to spray the stuff in. Hopefully it starts. So wish me luck. I'm going to put this back where I had you actually. It's as good a place as any, I think, for the moment. So power is on. So I heard that satisfying click-clack from the alternator from the fuel pump. Okay, and let's give it a bit of boot. Right, what the hell is going on? We need to find out. We need to go back to basics here and start thinking about this. Okay, there's something obviously up. First of all, disconnect the battery, right? So now, I'm wondering, is everything the way it's supposed to be with that 109 relay? Because before, when I started, what I did was I actually put the relay on the I didn't actually have the relay, I just put power directly to the contacts that needed them. So in this instance, maybe I have something wired wrong. So what we can do is we can take the relay out of the equation temporarily and just put some power directly onto it and see what happens. But it doesn't fix the problem, it just identifies the problem. Then we have to figure out what's going wrong. So I'm gonna set that up and see how we get on. That connector down the back of the block there is going to be the bane of my life. That round connector, it's just not great. The little tabs are broken off it because it actually locate the socket on the engine, so it twists, and trying to get it lined up is a pain in the face. But anyway, that was what the problem was. It wasn't home, even though I thought it was. Now what I have, which I didn't have before, is that's the fuel cut-off solenoid in the fuel pump, and we have power going to it. The weird thing is, though, is what I don't get is the fact that there was fuel coming through to the pump, and the fuel getting to the injectors, and if the fuel cut-off solenoid was closed, I wouldn't have thought it would have done, but I might be wrong on that, so I will stand corrected. Now the battery is starting to get a little bit low, so what I've done is I've actually just thrown it on charge for 10 minutes just to bring the capacity, bring up the current just a little bit, just enough to kind of get us going. And I'm hoping, and actually one of the things I noticed now, and this is encouraging, all our lights on our dashboard are working. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. So let's try and start it. Okay, so I'm going to get you guys set back up on top of the battery again. As I said, it's sort of out of harm's way as much as possible in this instance. And let's give us a, as Musty One says, let's give her. Oh! Okay, so it started and stopped again, so let's just disconnect the ECU and everything for that matter. put it back on. Check for current. Okay, we're getting power there. And let's try and start it again. Oh no. I know full well what that means. That means that basically the ECU has not, or the Immobilizer has not been deleted from this ECU. So I had it running without that 109 solenoid or 109 relay, so right. Let's just try it again. Okay, let's do a bit of rewiring and see how we get on. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else on the wiring now at this stage, to be honest with you. Well, not for the moment anyway. I've got things fairly wrapped up. I mean, all that stuff over there, that is the wiring that I still don't know whether or not I'm going to need, or stuff that still has to be connected. Stuff like the turbo boost control solenoid. I think it's called the N75 solenoid. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember offhand. But anyway, that will need to be connected, but I haven't got it connected yet. I haven't actually got it installed yet. But I have to take the ECU out. To be honest with you, I'm just pissed off now at this stage because this is where we're at. Now let me just take the battery charger off and connect everything back up again. Right, so that's on enough there now for the moment anyway, right? So keys, right. So as it stands, we have dashboard lights, which I'm delighted with because we've oil pressure, we've alternator, the glow plugs are actually working. Coolant level is intermittent. We'll have to have a look at that because there's no coolant in it at the moment, and this is what we get. That's the Immobilizer kicking in. So we're not going anywhere at the moment, but the fact that it's doing this, basically saying that we're nearly there. All we have to do is get the Immobilizer out, get the ECU out, get the Immobilizer deleted, reinstall that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out the gear shift mechanism because I really want to see what that's like. And that's the whole kit there in the back of the van. So yeah, the best thing to do, I tend to find, is that if you're getting bogged down with something and it's irritating you, best thing to do is just walk away from it and come back to it another day, because you'll only end up rushing it and you'll end up making a mess of it and you won't be happy with the end result either way. So right, let's get the gear shift mechanism out.